Yes, guys, today we are looking at fantasy football sleeper picks for your drafts this season. Last year we had guys like Bucky Irving, Jalen McMillan, even Jonnu Smith. All right, and the first one we're going to look at here really is a priority sleeper of mine, is Dylan Sampson. Now, that's potentially a name that you weren't expecting, okay? But I believe he was a NFL draft day steal and a fantasy football difference maker. And there's a bunch of reasons, right? So for those of you who don't know, Dylan Sampson is a rookie running back out of Tennessee, all right? Between 2022 and 2023, so not last season, the 2 seasons before, he was a complimentary running back to Jalen Wright, who's on the Dolphins, who was a big sleeper pick last year. People loved him coming out of Tennessee. Well, Dylan Sampson, in that complimentary role on a per-touch basis, was actually better. He outrushed Wright in points above average per attempt, evasion rate, positive percentage, boom percentage, bust percentage, okay? And again, that'd be a lower one. His per-game averages in that role as a complimentary RB, over 6 yards per attempt, 7+ rush attempts per game, 45+ rush yards on those attempts, and a touchdown per game. And again, that wasn't even as a starter. Then as the starter, okay, last year in Tennessee, amongst all running backs, he was top 10 in all of college football in these metrics: rushing yards per game, rushing attempts, rushing yards, and rushing touchdowns. An absolute monster, guys, all right? Last year, genuinely one of the best seasons we've seen out of a Tennessee running back of all time. He is in a discussion for best Tennessee RB ever for that college. But this is what really separates him, right? Like, there's a bunch of running backs that come into the draft, dare I say all of them, with impressive resumes from college. But what makes Sampson so unique to me, again, guys, he was drafted to the Browns. What makes him so unique to me is his draft age of age 20. Fact. Running backs drafted at age 20 break out more often, they are given more opportunities, and they do great with those opportunities. These trends, these stats are from RotoViz, guys, okay? So breakout rate versus draft age. RBs drafted at age 20, they break out twice as often as those at age 21, and they break out 5 times as often, okay, as RBs drafted at age 22. If we look at this chart right here, it really says it all. For those of you watching the video, obviously it's a bit more impactful. For those of you listening, at NOEXPERT on X, all right, and search for this thread. You can probably just search breakout rate at NOEXPERT. It'll come right up, okay? So in terms of early opportunity versus draft age, RBs drafted at age 20, they have the most opportunities in their first 2 years compared to running backs drafted at age 21, drafted at age 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, obviously, okay? And then with those opportunities, guys, efficiency versus draft age. RBs drafted at age 20 are 6 times more efficient than RBs drafted at age 21. The data behind running backs who are drafted so young at age 20, okay, is overwhelming. Like, they are most likely going to be value picks, especially in Dynasty, but we're just talking about first season or first couple years here, which is really just fantastic. Okay, now let's go back here real quick. You might say, well, how many RBs are drafted at age 20 this year, right? I should probably just draft all those guys. Potentially. I'll give you a hint. Of the guys that were drafted at age 20, Sampson is by far the best, all right? We have Trevor Etienne, who's a bit of a third down, not a workhorse back, third down back. We have LaQuint Allen Jr., who is very good, but a very good pass catcher. Again, not really a 3-down skill set. And then obviously we have Dylan Sampson, okay? He is by far the most exciting out of those 3, okay? Now, there are some concerns with him. Some of you Dynasty nerds are probably sitting there screaming, okay? The ball security, he has 5 career fumbles. That's just not a lot, okay? 5 over a college career is not a lot. He had 423 rush attempts in his career, but he had 4 last season, so it was kind of backloaded, if you will, on his career. He's undersized. He's not a big running back, right? But we see Jahmyr Gibbs, Devon Achane, they're all succeeding in the NFL right now, mostly because of their speed and agility. Well, Sampson's top speed is 21+ miles per hour. It's pretty fantastic. And he hasn't really shown an ability to take on a lot of receiving volume. Like he doesn't have a lot of targets and catches to his name, okay? But his yards per route run is 2.6, which is an elite metric. And actually, when he runs those routes, he gets targeted at a very high rate, 32% of the time. So the underlying utilization for his career suggests at least that he could take on those opportunities. So we'll move on from Sampson, guys. But really, moral of the story is, and again, even you guys who are not Dynasty nerds are probably saying, like, well, what about Quinshon Judkins, right? I view Judkins more of a workhorse, right? Strength, power back, kind of like a David Montgomery, if you will. And I view Sampson more as the Jahmyr Gibbs, the chunk gains, the elusiveness, the speed. I do think the Browns offense is improving. I do think they're really putting effort into getting better, right? I think of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb in the past. I think of Dylan Sampson and Quinshon Judkins now. They are by far the 2 best running backs on the roster. So I'm all over Sampson. I believe he's going, like 14th round. I mean, he's like 160th overall or something. You got to be all over that. I mean, that's a guy you're going to be picking up off waivers in 10-team leagues. And I think there are things here that suggest he could be a great pick. Might not show up right away, but I wouldn't be surprised if we revisit this video, 10 weeks into the season and we're like, damn. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Kind of in a similar vein, but a little different, but it is Jaden Blue, who's a rookie running back out of Texas. You're going to see a lot of rookies on this list just the way it is. They're just typically underdrafted, okay? The Cowboys' backfield right now consists of Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. It's pretty underwhelming. I mean, these are 2 guys who kind of have just, like, disappointed their entire career besides that 1 year Miles Sanders had on the Eagles, I believe it was. I don't even remember, but yeah, Blue is most likely going to be the most efficient running back on a per-touch basis. You think of Bucky Irving last year behind Rachaad White. Think of that, okay? Like, honestly, even think of Rachaad White multiple years ago behind Leonard Fournette. Anytime you have aging veterans or maybe not aging because Javonte and Miles are kind of still in that range, right? They're not really super old yet, but you just have underwhelming veterans who in their career have never been anything super special for fantasy football purposes, right? Or real life NFL purposes. Anytime you get a guy like Blue or a guy like Bucky Irving last year, who when he gets those touches, even though they're limited, he goes crazy with them. We got to target them in drafts, okay? Always bet on talented rookies behind vets. And with that being said, I'm in on Javonte. I'm not in on Sanders. I'm in on Javonte at cost. He's like RB36 or RB38. Like, I think that's a good pick. I also think Blue's a good pick. A lot of times in fantasy, we divide into these sides where we just yell at each other. I think that you can easily find common ground, okay? And just be educated about the picks you're making. All right, number 3 is Pat Bryant, okay? That's a name that a lot of people probably don't know. Well, again, another rookie drafted to Denver by Sean Payton, handpicked, I believe it was in the 3rd round. And Sean Payton has come out and basically been like, he reminds me of Michael Thomas. Payton is unapologetically trying to create this previous offense he had on the Saints. He thinks that RJ Harvey is the second coming of Alvin Kamara, and he seems to think that Pat Bryant out of Illinois is the second coming of Michael Thomas. And whether or not he's right or wrong, Pat Bryant is a very good player. His pro comparison is Keon Coleman. He's a monster across the middle on these intermediate routes and has big playability as well. And at the end of the day, the truth is that on the Broncos, there is room for a second wide receiver too. In fact, they need it, right? Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, Devon Vele, they all have their moments, maybe, but like none of them are a locked-in wide receiver too for this team. And Bo Nix is actually producing enough, and Sean Payton's has this offense producing enough opportunities for a wide receiver two to be at least fantasy relevant in the flex range. I mean, I really think Courtland Sutton is going to take that wide receiver 1 step this year. He already did for the majority of last season. A lot of people don't want to admit that, though. I see him finishing as a top 15 wide receiver, and I wouldn't be surprised if they had a second one in the top 30. And Pat Bryant, where he's going in drafts, I mean, even later than these guys we just mentioned before as a 3rd sleeper on the list, he might be the best pick so far. Okay, so put him on the list for sure, especially in 3 wide receiver leagues, deeper leagues, right? We're all over that. All right, number 4 on the list of sleepers is Ray Davis. So right now, as we speak, Ray Davis is taking first-team reps with Josh Allen in Bills camp, okay? James Cook and the Bills, they are not close on a contract extension. And as I said, currently, the Buffalo running back 1 is going 160th overall in drafts. Last year, he played 2 games as the starter. Cook was absent in both of them, okay? Week 6, a lot of you guys remember that, against the Jets. He went absolutely crazy. 20 carries, 97 yards. That's 4.9 a carry. He had 3 targets, 3 catches. And again, yards per catch, 18.3. And that was a nice 18.2 fantasy points there. And then I believe week 18, they sat the starters. Ray Davis played again, 15 rushes, 3 targets. Again, that's 18-plus opportunities. If you remember from previous episode, guys, if you hit 18-plus opportunities, 83% of the time, you will be a running back 1. last year, that was the number. I believe it was 10 of the 12 RB1s hit 18 plus opportunities per game. I believe Cook was one of them that didn't, and maybe Bucky Irving. I forget the second one, but James Cook definitely had like 15. He was a top 12 RB, and there was one other one. Look, the Bills are willing to give Ray Davis the work. Honestly, they're probably pretty like bored with Cook missing, so you got to monitor this. Obviously, the ADP will skyrocket if he is the RB1, but geez, Cook could get traded. Who knows? So we're all over Ray Davis. Even if Cook plays, right? He's undersized. He's avoided injury. Not predicting injuries or anything, but Ray Davis is a very good guy to have on your roster, especially when we look at the other running backs on the team. Ty Johnson is really just a third down guy. Reggie Gilliam, Darrington Evans. Yeah, Frank Gore Jr. I mean, come on. All right, let's move on here to number 5 on the list, and that is Cedric Tillman. He only played 4 healthy games last year on a full-time snaps. Now, I was quoted as saying on X that Cedric Tillman is the waiver wire pickup of the year. And now, was this the case? No. However, if he finished the season and played more than 4 full-time snaps games healthy, right? Maybe, but he ended up getting injured, okay? So, in those games though, there was a bye week in there, but in those games, there was week 7 through 11, 18.6 fantasy points. He had 1 broken tackle per game, which doesn't sound like a lot. It was actually first at the position. He was tied with a couple guys. 131 air yards per game. That was 4th amongst wide receivers. Now, obviously, that's a lot of credit to Jameis Winston, who just chucks the ball as far as he can. But, I mean, that worked. So I doubt the Browns are like, no, don't target Cedric Tillman deep. That won't work. That never works. I mean, he produced guys for over a month of real-life NFL football. 22% target share during that span. And what's so interesting to me, right, about him is that compared to Jerry Jeudy and Deontay Johnson, who's now on the team, Tillman just has a different skill set to those guys where he is the deep ball playmaker. And those guys are not. If we look at the leaderboard here, when he was fully healthy in a full-time role, there were only 7 wide receivers who were better than him on a per-game basis. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, obviously at 1 and 2. Amon-Ra St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb. Jawan Jennings was going crazy. Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith and Jigba. And then Cedric Tillman at 8. So it's worth monitoring. Anytime a guy flashes for that long, doesn't seem like a long time, guys, but it's over a month of real life, like every day, coming to practice, performing in the games, repeating that 4 times, like that's a big deal, okay? And he's going outside the top 200 right now, I believe. So, again, a player you can pick up off waivers after, especially in 3 wide receiver leagues, worth a shot. Now, coming in at number 6 is Chig Okonkwo. To close last season, guys, 6+ targets in 4 of the 5 last games. He had a full-time role there, and he scored as a top 10 tight end in weeks 12 through 17. Now, it's nothing crazy. I believe he was tight end 9 to close the season, right? Weeks 12 through 17, but, I mean, he's going outside the top 200 right now. And we're talking about late-round dart throws at the tight end position. A lot of you guys like to punt that position. Chig Okonkwo is my number 1 late-round dart throw. If we look at the roster behind him, there's no one competing for this tight end spot. He's never had a QB in his career, and he's produced here and there. We've seen flashes of greatness for 3 seasons now. Every season he's been in the league, he's shown us something, even if it's 1 play on a whole season, right? A couple plays, a couple games. We've seen it. And I think that if Cam Ward just returns value on his draft capital, on the promises, right, people are making for him, that the organizations, the faith they have in him, if he just returns that value and has a good rookie season, I think Chig Okonkwo is going to be a big part of that. And he is my preferred late-round tight end dart throw. And finally, guys, what would be a sleeper list without number 7, Jordan James? And I'm going to show you how we mock draft these guys right after I'm done discussing James, because he's going to be an interesting part of a lot of drafts. Because when people are drafting Christian McCaffrey, you know that his handcuffs have always had a pivotal role in fantasy. And right now, Jordan Mason is gone. He's now on the Vikings, I believe. We have Isaac Guerrero and we have Patrick Taylor as the 2 running backs behind Christian McCaffrey. Those 2 were underwhelming last year. They are simply not that special. The Niners went out and drafted James. He is a monster pure rusher out of Oregon. He is simply just a pure rusher. Like, I know you can envision in your head the Shanahan scheme where we just say to ourselves, how does this guy go crazy every week? Doesn't matter who the running back is. This guy, Jordan James, was built for this scheme. They went out and got him over other running backs who, according to draft experts, right, were better in a vacuum. But this guy fits the scheme. Pure rushing monster, okay? We're all over Jordan James. Let's hop into now a mock draft. You guys know how we do. We're going to do a random draft selection here. We'll start the draft. Let's see what spot we're in. We are in the 4th spot, my favorite spot to draft. Real quick, guys, it's going to be PPR. I always talk about PPR because it's just the easiest in my mind to associate with analytics, right? Things like that, analytics in quotes. So the roster format is going to be 1 QB, 2 running back, 2 receiver, 1 tight end, 2 flexes, and a couple bench spots, 4 or 5 bench spots. But maybe we get that far, maybe we don't. Nonetheless, we are up at 104. Chase, Jefferson, and Barkley are off the board. We are up. And I have Ray Davis selected. That would be not appropriate right now. And the pick for me is easy, guys. I'm going to start a lot of drafts like this year. The pick for me is Bijan Robinson. He is in contention for the 101 for me. Over Chase, right? It's him or Chase. He is the clear running back 1 for me, Bijan Robinson, in this year of fantasy football. The reason I have him so high up there next to Chase is because the running back position overall is just a bit more scarce. Like, I look at the wide receivers, I see Chase, I see Jefferson, I see Lamb, St. Brown, Nakua, Neighbors, Thomas, Collins, even London, even A.J. Brown, right? There's like 8 guys who, in my opinion, really could be the wide receiver 1. Like, I could see a case play out where they are the best wide receiver. When I look at running back, obviously you have Bijan. I think he is the clear RB1. Potentially Saquon Barkley. There's a lot of things working against him from historical standpoints. A lot of you guys are triggered right now that I don't necessarily think he's the locked-in one, that he is going to finish there, that he could. But he could, so let's give it to him. He could. Gibbs could. He did last year in PPR. I don't think Henry can. Achane can, but he's risky. And Genty can, and McCaffrey can. It's less running backs that can finish as the RB1. There's more wide receivers, obviously, that can finish as wide receiver 1. And even in PPR, Bijan is my 101. So I will be selecting him here. And now we're just going to look at the hero RB strategy, guys. One of the best strategies that I implement every single year. You get a Bijan, right? You get a guy like Saquon last year, someone like that, and you just wait on running back, okay? So coming back to us in the second round, at the 209. We'll try to keep some guys in mind in the later rounds that, we went over in the episode today. We'll see, but up here at the 209, for the running backs, we're going to kind of avoid them, and I'll explain why, right? So Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, Chase Brown, Breece Hall, James Cook, Ken Walker. I mean, I'm going down the list, and guys like Ken Walker, Alvin Kamara, right? I think they can compete with Bucky Irving, whose ADP is 19, so I'm just going to wait and maybe get another one later. So I don't need to do that right now. Looking at wide receivers, we do need a wide receiver 1. JSN's on the board. Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, love those guys. We're probably going there. I'm going to go ahead and select JSN. And then coming back in the third, obviously between Bijan and JSN. JSN is the weaker player, so I'm going to look to bolster the wide receiver room real quick with, ideally, another top 20, top 15 wide receiver. Between our picks, Tyreek Hill goes off the board. We have T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Terry McLaurin, and Marvin. Very interesting. I will never be picking T. Higgins in the early third, late second. I'm anti that, always. Even though he's a monster, even though he literally has wide receiver 1 overall ceiling. Garrett Wilson's on the board. Have to like that. Terry McLaurin's on the board. Marvin Harrison. We're going to go with Marvin. I'm a big believer. A lot of you guys probably don't like that pick, but I'm a very, very big believer with JSN. Has the solid floor. Marvin is riskier, but if he's my wide receiver 2, he really could go ahead and be better than JSN, so I'm all over that. Coming to us in the fourth, you guys know me. I love my early QB. I love my early tight end. Let's take a quick look. Kittle, Hawkinson, Laporta. Certainly not selecting Kittle here, although it is where his ADP is going. I like to skip him, go for Hawkinson, Laporta a bit later, even Kelsey at 71 ADP. Looking at wide receiver 1 again, we have Cortland Sutton, DK Metcalf. Okay, interesting, because it's a 2-flex league, so we could go receiver again. Looking at running back, there's some names here. Mixon, Hampton, Chuba, James Conner. Is very dead zoney, right? I potentially would like to wait here, okay, on running back. Looking at QB, we have Mahomes, who I do have a tier above Baker, Goff, Nix, guys like that. So potentially here we'll go wide receiver with Cortland Sutton, who I mentioned before, guys. Really think he's going to have a big role in that Denver offense, as he did to close the back half of the season, was a wide receiver 1. So potentially we could have 3 top 20 receivers on our roster underneath Bijan. Now in the 5th, if Mahomes is there, I'll be taking him. He is. So we have Mahomes, Bijan, JSN, Marvin, and Sutton. So we're very good on the wide receivers. We have a great QB, and we have an elite running back. Now we'll be looking at the tight end position. We're just going to take a peek. I see Hawkinson and Laporta are off the board. Up next is Jonnu. Zero worlds exist where I take Jonnu over Kelsey, so we're waiting on Kelsey. We're looking at Ingram, okay, Andrews. I don't love those names as much. Kelsey really is our target, and I'd be looking to reach on him before his 71 ADP in the 7th round. So that means what we're going to do is look at running back, and we're going to look again at wide receiver since it's a 2-flex league. So looking at running back right now, we have Aaron Jones on the board, Tyrone Tracy, Tony Pollard, Quinshon Judkins, okay. Interesting picks. So Aaron Jones, I'm out on. We have Jordan Mason in Minnesota now, so that's a 50-50 in my eyes. Tyrone Tracy is a very intriguing name. I do think he starts the season as the RB1, plays majority of the season as the RB1 over Scadaboo because Tyrone Tracy's not a wash veteran. I love rookies behind wash veterans. Cam Scadaboo's not one of them. Quinshon Judkins obviously is the lead back there. We talked about Dylan Sampson. Love that. Judkins' ADP is 76. Okay, so his ADP is 76. Kelsey's is 71. This could be the Kelsey pick. I'm going to take Kelsey here in the 6. It's a reach. It's a late 6, so maybe not. But just in terms of ADP, it's a reach. Aaron Jones, Quinshon, Tracy, they go after us. Really was hoping Quinshon came back to us. But what I'm going to do now, guys, is take my RB2, and that's going to be DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift has never finished lower than RB21 in his career. His ADP is closing in on RB30. So it's simply just a value pick. Ben Johnson's backfield last year in Detroit averaged 35 opportunities per game. It's not a sexy pick, but underneath Bijan, right? It's just a pick we can make. Now, basically our starting lineup is full here. We have Mahomes, Bijan, Swift, JSN, Marvin, Kelsey, Cortland, and we're looking for that second flex. And I see a guy already who is very intriguing, especially since we're a little weak at RB behind Bijan. Yeah, looking at the receivers, Diggs, Reed, Pearsall, Downs. A couple names there. Those latter two names interest me, but not right now. Travis Etienne will absolutely be the pick here. He's going to play the Bucky Irving role in the Jaguars offense with Liam Cohen coming over, who made Bucky Irving a star last year. Etienne will play that. He is the best running back on the roster, still in the prime age window. A top tier, mid-round sleeper. I couldn't include him on the episode today, but you guys know I'm all over him. So Etienne is our second flex there. Looking at the board again, Javonte, Tyjae Spears is Tyjae Spears, that is a good name. Wide receivers, a lot of the same guys I just mentioned. Love Josh Downs, love Keon Coleman, McMillan. It's one of those guys. Wide receivers are kind of a dime a dozen, though, and there's a lot of RB talent I like here, so we're going to take Tyjae Spears. Last year, guys, Spears absolutely took the job from Tony Pollard to close the season. Okay, his PPR fantasy points, weeks 15 through 17, last 3 games they played 27.2, 21.6, and 13.3, averaged over 60% of snaps in that game. Meanwhile, Pollard was doing absolutely nothing. Now, there's about 4 picks left. Our starting lineup's all set. Tyjae Spears is the first man off the bench. You love to see that. Let's take a look at the wide receivers. Keon Coleman, Jalen McMillan, Emeka Egbuka. Really good names here. Let's go ahead and grab Coleman. I think he steps up as the wide receiver 1 in Buffalo this year, and we might not even have enough rounds to draft our sleepers we mentioned today, but that's okay. We're looking again at wide receiver. McMillan's still there. Egbuka. I'm going to take Egbuka. Just let's get some rookie talent in there. Yeah, he's the only rookie on our team. And going into rounds 12 and 13 now, we'll see who makes it back to us. In terms of tight end, I mean, look how far Chig Okonkwo is behind Jatavian Sanders, Brenton Strange, Cole Kmet, who is not even the starter on his team. Unreal. Just unreal. Okay, we're back on the clock, guys. Hollywood Brown, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Kyle Williams is a nice pick at wide receiver. In terms of running backs, Eckler, Ford, Bashal Tutin, Jaden Blue is there. So we're going to take Blue. Jaden Blue will be our pick there. He'll round out our running back room, and he will be our 5th running back. So it's just a great example of the type of talent and potential ceiling you can get, guys, in the 12th, 13th round with Jaden Blue, and how to construct a roster around him, a guy like him that we talked about in the episode today. And Sampson is on the board down here, and we'll take him. So Sampson's going behind Garendo, Trey Benson, Algier, Blake Corum. I like Sampson over all of those guys. I think he'll have a bit more of work to start the season, guys. So the roster's looking pretty good. I'm happy with this. We have the Mahomes and Kelsey stack. We have Bijan at RB1, DeAndre Swift at RB2. We have JSN, Marvin Harrison at our wide receivers, Cortland Sutton at flex 1, Travis Etienne at flex 2, and rotating in for those guys, okay? Tyjae Spears, Keon Coleman, Emeka Egbuka, Jaden Blue, and Dylan Sampson. 2 of our sleepers we talked about on the episode today, guys. That is going to do it for the episode. Follow everywhere, guys. We're posting on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, literally everything. I got a team now. follow everywhere. Fellas, thank you.